It's Thursday night in the A. You know what that means. Kelly Price and Tori McElhaney is coming at you on Rise Up Tonight, presented by AT&T.
What is going on, Atlanta? Happy week one. I am like that picture of Kirk Cousins sliding down that water slide where he looked like he was having the absolute time of his life. It's week one. That's me going into this, Tori.
The preseason is over, y'all, and let's freaking go.
I'm so stoked. Finally, we can look forward to real football with a lot of real storylines going into Sunday's game against Pittsburgh. Let's huddle up about it, y'all.
Let's huddle up with Kelly and Tori on the world of Falcons football.
One of those real things to watch is what this real offense will look like in real games. Zach Robinson is calling plays for the first time in his career. I think it's a pretty solid bet to say things will look a lot different than when Arthur Smith was doing so a year ago. But we don't have much insight into what that's all going to really look like, especially with a couple new pieces on that side of the ball. So what do you kind of expect, Tori?
So I expect us to see the Kirk Cousins effect immediately. This is someone who is one of the most accurate pocket passers in the league right now. I know because I've looked at the stats. Cousins is fully healthy, and after talking to him this week, this is someone who cannot wait to get back on the field. He even said he's almost giddy to get that first hit out of the way. But in all seriousness, I truly believe we're going to see the effect of that Kirk Cousins accuracy in the early targets, catches, and production of guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. And Kelly, you know who will be really excited about that? Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
I'll bet these fans will be excited for that as well. Speaking of our king of narratives, Arthur Smith being on the opposite sideline as the Atlanta Falcons kick off this 2024 campaign, definitely one of the storylines we're watching this week. We'll see what the result ends up being, but the NFL scriptwriters, or at least the schedule makers, really ate with this matchup. Falcons fans know what his touch on an offense looks like, and while there are a few former Falcons up in Pittsburgh now with Coach Smith, there's also Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and also, in case you missed, those starters didn't look so hot in the preseason, whatever you make of that. So, Tori, what have players kind of said about the challenges, maybe the holes in this offense for the Steelers?
Yeah, so essentially for as little as they feel like they know about the Steelers and their offensive attack, that's about how much the Falcons know of theirs too. Something that you have to guard against as a defender in the first couple of weeks of the season is this idea of chasing ghosts. Now, this is Jesse Bates' term, not my own, but it means that you can get a little overwhelmed sometimes with a different input of different looks. Think about it this way. What do you watch to prep for the Steelers? Atlanta's own offense from 2023 because of Arthur Smith, the Russell Wilson of the Broncos, or the Russell Wilson of the Seahawks? What about those Justin Fields packages? At the end of the day, when the ball is put down, it's important for the Falcons defense to remember who it is, not all these other factors that could distract them.
That is such a good point, Tori. And the Atlanta Falcons defense lining up against that Steelers offense looks a lot different than the squad that Arthur Smith left behind on that side of the ball here. The hype around this defense has absolutely skyrocketed after bringing in guys like Matthew Judon, Justin Simmons, as you guys know. So, Tori, what real expectations should this fan base have when it comes to the defense?
Yeah, so my expectations for this defense are very, very high. Higher than I think they've been since I started covering the team in 2020. For so long, the national perspective around this defense was it's Grady Jarrett and those other guys. And that is no longer the case. You have to put respect on a lot of these defenders named now. What's more is you have to account for them too. Gone are the days of putting 3 linemen on Grady Jarrett. You won't be able to get away with that with this defense, and that's the crux of the expectation for what this defense and what this unit could be.
Great stuff there. First time at the Benz for some of these new Falcons faces during that preseason finale, and the fellas took the dress rehearsal seriously. We're walking in, presented by Wells Fargo. We're starting off with a statement fit from the statement signing himself, Justin Simmons. I saw him in this immaculate animal print matching set in the locker room. I even gave him little compliments that I loved the look, and he said, "Oh, thanks, but I just had this laying around. I still need to meet with my suit guy to get all my outfits figured out for the season." And so now I'm really intrigued to see what comes after this, Tori.
Here's the thing, if this is the precursor for what's to come, I think we may be seeing a lot more of Mr. Simmons in this particular segment.
I mean, how do you even top this look? It's great. All right, let's hear it for the rookie making it in another walk-in cut this preseason. I love how whimsical this Casey Washington outfit feels, all the colors, the contrast, of course, the Dennis Rodman moment, but this raises a similar thought to me as his JT reminiscent fit. I hope this 23-year-old understands and appreciates what he's paying homage to here.
I also love how Casey is not afraid to play around with a little color pop. Keep being you, Casey, because Kelly and I fully enjoy your fashion decisions, even if it maybe makes us feel a little old.
To watch him walk out his faith in lead us and lead the Falcons. I just feel it's a privilege to be his wife.
I mean, how can you not love the Cousins family? And Julie Cousins has been there for every proud moment and milestone in Kirk's football journey. Part 2 of our interview with Mrs. QB1 coming up later in the show.
Rise Up Tonight is presented by AT&T and brought to you by Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. By Mercedes-Benz, the best of nothing. And by Home Depot, how doers get more done. Falcons fans, do you ever wonder what's really on your favorite player's mind? It's time for Question of the Week, brought to you by Zaxby's, famous fingers and sauces.
Ooh, do I hate the most? I'll probably say Boston College.
Michigan. NC State.
Oklahoma. Georgia Tech. Sorry, Falcons fans who like Georgia Tech.
I hate Michigan.
Does Chris Lindstrom know this? I'm sure you guys.
Oh, he knows. He knows. Yeah. He knows. But I went to Georgia, so yeah. Rec Tech, man. Yeah.
I don't care who wins, as long as Michigan does.
So last year was not a good year.
It wasn't.
National champion.
I don't understand like why they're even a college. Like I went to Norman. This is literally like here because it had to be placed here. Like, I hate that for that city. Like, they should just live life without having the college there.
So after that, my dad is a Texas ex, and his favorite joke is the reason that Texas doesn't fall into the Gulf of Mexico is because Oklahoma sucks. And I shared that with Bijan, and he really appreciated that joke.
Who knew Bijan could be so sassy?
We love that. Well, a project that I know Tori has put literal sweat and tears, maybe even blood into, is the Grady Jarrett Year 10 feature on the Atlanta Falcons website and digital channels. If y'all haven't seen it already, go cue it up for your viewing pleasure when you have a chance. Here's a short snippet.
When I'm willing and able and I'm good, my body ready to go, ain't nothing in the world that I'd rather do other than be playing football. That's something that I definitely knew about myself, but now I know it.
And I know it, that your written component to this feature kicked butt, Tori. So tell us a little more about this project.
Yeah, so this is a project that really began a full year ago when Mark Whittingham, the editor of this feature, texted me about us doing something for Grady's 10th year in the league. We started full force with Grady in January, and after hours of interviews, upwards of about 10 different shoots, and lots of time storyboarding, editing, and writing, the project came to life, showcasing a strength and vulnerability that I don't know if we've ever seen from Grady before. It represents everything that Grady is to this franchise, and I know this will be a project I'll be proud of for a very long time.
Well, that's awesome. Well, while fans haven't gotten to see too much of Michael Penix Jr. yet, some lucky kids got to meet and greet with MPJ last week at the Atlanta Boys and Girls Club. And despite going in his first year in the NFL, he's already a pretty popular guy. Time to rise up for Atlanta, brought to you by Truist. Man of the people right there. Though some adult fans out there might also be screaming similarly to see Penix. The 8th overall pick got a chance to engage with the local Boys and Girls Club kiddos, taking selfies, distributing school supplies provided by Sharpie and Papermate, and dishing out some life advice during a Q&A session.
Yeah, I spent all my life playing football. You know, I've been in everybody in here's shoes before at a Boys and Girls Club. I know how excited y'all are. It look like y'all got a line, maybe more pizza going on back there. But I'm super blessed to be able to be here in front of all of you.
Well, the kids are hyped for MPJ, but you're all hyped for a new season full of promise. We are hyped to award our Dirty Bird chain for week 0. You like that? Is still to come. Plus part 2 of In the Nest with Julie Cousins just on the other side of the break. More Rise Up Tonight just ahead.
Welcome back to Rise Up Tonight. Let's head in the nest with Kelly, Tori, and this week's special guest, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
We are super stoked about this week's guest, Julie Cousins, wife of Kirk Cousins. Well, how have you seen him grow as a quarterback and kind of just throughout his career?
I'm really proud of him. He is always learning and growing, and like I said, we're very much like, how can we get better? He is definitely an improver. That's like his personality, which is great for being a quarterback.
Right, yeah.
And he is brilliant. So I think that really helps him. He's always trying to do the next thing, like brain training or reading a book about leadership, or calling somebody that he really respects in either football or business, and I just love watching him be him. He's a fascinating guy, and I can't wait to watch what he's going to do here in Atlanta. I'm really excited about it.
You talk about your kids getting older. Are they now kind of warming up to the idea of what type of fans they're going to be? Like, how are they kind of during this time as well? And do they have the like cognizant understanding too of like, hey, yeah, Dad's a pretty big deal.
That's kind of cool.
Yes, we're entering that stage. They're 5 and 6, and they're boys, and we've had some funny stories. Like one of them is, okay, I was going to purchase Falcons jerseys with 18, and I said, do you want it to say Daddy or Dad? And they said nothing. We don't want people to stop us.
Honestly, understandable.
So we're just gonna be rocking the cousins,
right.
And that's totally fine. And I'm glad they told me that. They both said that.
In your conversations with them, are they excited for the season? What are kind of their feelings about getting to game day?
My 6-year-old Cooper really got into football last football season, where he wants to watch the games no matter what team's playing and go to the games. My 5-year-old, I'm hoping he's there. We'll see. He's kind of like, I'm good. I don't need to go. And I'm like, I think you do. I think you do need to go to the game.
I think you're gonna like it.
So we'll see.
Right, yeah.
We'll see.
I know you said I could never do his job. Why is that? What do you mean by that?
I don't like attention. So the fact that an entire stadium
is looking
would be really challenging.
A lot of pressure too.
I would maybe last 5 seconds.
I say the same thing too. I'm always like, I don't think I could do it. Like from a mental standpoint. That's what I think people
For many reasons, I could not do it.
Right. Physical standpoint's one thing.
Physically is one.
Right.
I'm also actually not a competitive person.
Oh,
I have learned that about myself. I really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
So being a quarterback wife really works for me.
Is there a moment looking back over 13 seasons where you're exceptionally proud, not just of maybe what Kirk did on the field, but maybe how he represented you and your family?
I think that he handles adversity really well. So whether it's a terrible loss or you get booed or you throw an interception to end the game, you know, he just believes that God has it all worked out and that God's plans are what's going to come through. And I think that helps when you're like, I'm just doing my best. I can't control everything, and I've been really proud to watch him just kind of let go of that control and let God work and see what happens, and it helps.
I think we, from the outside looking in, have seen that with this rehabbing of his Achilles injury, which has obviously been one of the biggest things that he's kind of had to overcome in his career injury-wise. What has it been like for you watching him go through that process? It's amazing. I mean, scientifically, it's amazing.
Right, yeah.
But just the mental and just how hard he has had to work for that.
Right. I think it's been fascinating for me to watch how many hours he has spent rehabbing and not complaining and just getting up every day and how can I fix my Achilles, but also, be the new Falcons quarterback and meet teammates and balancing it all so well without totally losing it. I think is incredible. So, like I said, I really enjoy watching him live out his life because he's such a cool guy and he's just doing things in a way that not many people do. And to watch him walk out his faith and lead us and lead the Falcons, I just feel it's a privilege to be his wife.
There is kind of this level of hope and excitement, and I know Kirk's talked about it, players, coaches, but from your perspective, what is most exciting about this season of life, but also this football season that y'all are kind of entering into?
Yeah, it's a lot of new things here.
Yeah.
And going into year 13, I think we are officially the oldest players on the Falcons, which is
that
great.
checks out, yeah.
I think every year you get more comfortable in your leadership and you learn what works and doesn't. And so we're excited to bring some things here that we've seen work well. And on my side, I love getting the significant others together in different ways, like Bible study or dinner out. And I'm more comfortable to do that when I'm going into year 13 than I was year 1 or 2 or 3.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited about Raheem Morris and his wife Nikki. They're very family oriented, which is a big deal to me, and I think a lot of people, they love being a part of it. I don't need to be a part of everything, but when I feel welcome and my kids are welcome, it makes a really big difference. And I noticed that during the COVID years when it was kind of like, you can't go to the games,
right.
It was really hard. And then in 2022, when we were allowed back, I really noticed the difference of wow, this is a totally different thing when our family is in this. And so I'm excited to see what all these new people bring to this organization. I'm excited.
Yeah. It's interesting too because you talk about that 2020 year. I remember like coming back in 2022, and that was the first time that families were allowed back at training camp. And I will never forget the first day walking out and seeing all the families, and I almost got like a little emotional about it because my dad was, you know, a high school football coach. Like football was family is football. I know that's a super cliche, but like it's to a certain extent it's true. And I just really appreciate those moments where you do get to see like family interactions and everything. What do those moments kind of mean to you?
Well, like I said, it's like everything to me as the quarterback wife. I love feeling like, you know, like I said, we're welcome, and I appreciated it so much more after having those 2 years where it was like you need to stay at home, which I totally understand. But once we were welcomed back, I just loved it even more than I already did.
Every day in the office, I'm like, I get really excited to be around everybody, and
that's special.
Right? Yeah. Like we were talking during March Madness, and Kirk walked through, and it was when Michigan State was like playing, and so we're standing there watching the game, and it's just like there are interactions that you think are very like small and don't mean anything, but then when it gets people excited to come into work, to be around people who are just like fun and normal and happy to be there, it matters.
Yes.
Yeah. And that hopefully translates onto the field.
Yes. Kirk is somebody that makes small things fun like that, and I think his teammates will really appreciate that.
They've already really enjoyed his dad jokes. I do think that is something that I was really, because he was talking in a press conference or something at some point talking about like Vajon was born, you know, in late 2000.
That he could be his dad or something.
Right, yeah. It's so funny.
Do you laugh at the dad jokes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, you have to at this point.
He has a unique sense of humor, and so he loves it when he finds other teammates or coaches who get his humor, and I think he's found a few here. And
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. You spent so much time with us. We really appreciate all the stories and everything that you guys and your whole family are bringing to this organization. I think a lot of Falcons fans are excited to see what it looks like on the field. So thank you so much for your time. Anyone who wants to catch the full conversation, head to fox5atlanta.com. We'll post the full thing on there, and we'll be right back on Rise Up Tonight.
Hey Atlanta, this is Head Crack talking, and you watching Rise Up Tonight, presented by AT&T.
Content all day.
Big Kirko wakes up dripping like this.
Cousins with the chain. Oh yeah! I love it. I love it. I love it. Want to see me jog? You want to see me jog? Here we go. I'm jogging. You like that? You like that?
So I did some digging, Tori. Big J journalism, if you will. The Falcons have been using this "Rise Up" catchphrase at least for since Samuel L. Jackson iconically proclaimed it in a commercial back in 2010. Kirk Cousins, at 36 years young, oldest guy on the roster by 4 years, was drafted in 2012. So this whole "Rise Up" notion, it's been around a while. Not to mention through a lot of eras of Falcons football at this point. In this season, I've been seeing "Rise Up" more around town on bumper stickers, t-shirts, social media posts. The fan base is in agreement. This is a team ready to rise up. And Tori, I'm ready for that too, but I'm also ready to see these fans rise up. Every day the Dirty Birds play, and the Fives are rising up in the A. So that is why we're awarding this Dirty Bird chain to y'all, the fans, for sticking through some tough times, but still ready to rise up for a new season here.
You know, Kelly, I think if the players got to vote for who gets the Kirko chain, I think they would say the fans too. Every conversation that we have with the leaders of this team, so think Grady, AJ Terrell, JB3, Kirk, etc., they all say the same thing. This is one of the most talented rosters they've ever played with. But that on paper means nothing until you go out and earn wins and the respect of this fan base. I think if you ask them, that's a huge motivation for them in 2024. They want you, the fans, to be proud of them.
And I think these fans are really excited. I'm really excited to see what the Benz looks like on Sunday. Hopefully all the Dirty Bird fans can go out there and show the terrible towel what it's really meaning to be a fan here in the A. Well, thanks for staying up late with us here on Rise Up Tonight. For Tori McElhaney, I'm Kelly Price. Have a great night and happy week 1.